Nation God is NNG. Find is what you see. A frequencies of elevation. Reach your highest frequency. She's serving healing and education. Uplifting and motivating. NNG. New Nation Goddess. They go check in. You're now tuned in to the Transcend NNG podcast with your host, Brittany Walker. New episodes on Wealth and Wellness Wednesdays.
Hey, happy Wealth and Wellness Wednesdays. It is Wednesday, May 10th. I am your host, Brittany Walker, also known as New Nation Goddess, and welcome to the Transcend with NNG podcast, coming through for season 3, episode 2, and we're going to be discussing how to serve, to heal, and to educate. We're going to be definitely deep diving into the first frequency of elevation, which is defining your purpose. So in order to define that, you need to determine how you're going to be serving others, how you're going to be healing them, and how you're going to be educating them. All right, so we like to kick off the podcast with the I am power statement, I representing inspiration, A representing affirmations, and M representing manifestations. So the I am power statement for today is I will serve, heal, and educate those who I am meant to assist in this lifetime. Ashe. So guys, if you're watching the video, we're on YouTube and Spotify. If you're on any other platform, it is audio. So whatever I am showing in the screen, I'll be sure to put in the description of the episode so you guys can have access to that information. All right. So I typically like to give you a book or some type of resource. So the quote of the day is actually going to be, everybody can be great because everybody can serve, from Martin Luther King Jr. So guys, just be mindful, to have real success in life, you have to be able to serve and give back in some sort of way. So just keep that in the back of your head. You've heard us say it multiple episodes in the past, especially if this is not your first time tuning in with us. But if it is your first time, strap up, be prepared for the ride, because we're going to be dropping all the chai, all the tea on good information that will help you transcend into your highest self so you can really get fulfillment in this lifetime. So let me take a sip. I apologize. I am sipping on the Cramp Elixir made by Kick Cramp's Ass. That is our new organization combating period poverty, advocating for menstrual equity, and definitely executing womb healing. So give me a second as I take a sip. But the tea is filled with hibiscus, red raspberry leaf, mugwort, nettles, chastity berry, vervain, ashwagandha, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. All these wonderful things that is beneficial for womb wellness. It will also be beneficial for just a good deep cleanse of the body for those of you who do not menstruate. But it is very helpful to avoid fibroids, heavy menstrual cramps, bad flow, even infertility, PCOS, endometriosis. The list goes on and on. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's talk about it. We're going to break up this section to serve, to heal, and to educate. Let's talk about serving first. So believe with hard work that you bring value to others. Serving isn't drifting. You have to make sure that whatever you're positioning in is it volunteered work? Is it your actual business organization that you're wanting to do? Or is it you just trying to define what your mission is in your life? What are the things that you truly value? You want to make sure that you are adding value to others through your service. So I mentioned during our last episode, are you starting a business that's just a quick hustle, you're just making money? You're not focusing on resolving an actual problem for the individuals that you're serving, your targeted audience, your demographics. Are you focusing on the mission and what you're really wanting to do in this world and how that is contributing to your targeted audience? You want to make sure, for instance, let's use the example of being an esthetician. If you're an esthetician, Are you giving facials? Are you helping with skin rejuvenation? Or are you also teaching additional classes that could be helpful for those who suffer from skin issues? Are you going out into the community, speaking to organizations, maybe even schools or girls clubs or things of that sort on proper ways that they can maintain their hygiene or their facial health? Are you creating products and items that are going to be beneficial for helping people overcome issues that they're having with their skin or issues that they're having with um, acne or anything along those lines? So just think about it. What ways are you really serving? Because you could be in a position right now that you're serving people, but you might not be serving to the full capacity that you can because you're kind of stuck in a box on, well, I just have this one service, or I'm just really skilled in this one thing, instead of looking at the bigger picture on how not only you can grow your brand and expand it, but also how you're really serving and helping others. The goal, guys, is to take whatever your mission is and make sure that that is not only adding value to those that you are servicing, but you're taking that one thing and you're figuring out multiple ways that you can produce consistent revenue with that skill. I use the example as the esthetician. So again, you could be doing actual esthetician work, waxing, facials, things of that sort, but then you also are offering your own products and services. You're also offering some type of school or workshop or course that could help others, that you're taking time in the community to give back, and then maybe giving away free samples of something, or having like a day where you go do mini facials or do like a DIY situation with a group of young women or even males. There's a lot of men that don't take care of their faces like they're supposed to. So just teaching them skills that they might not have learned at home or in their adolescent years that could be beneficial for their overall skin health. So having retreats, having events, doing seminars, connecting with other people in the beauty industry, and maybe you have a convention together. So just think about things that you could be doing, producing an ebook, producing some type of digital product that you can give away or even sell. So just think about it, guys. Also with service, you want to give first. The difference between leaders and followers is who moves first. You want to make sure you're giving. You just don't want to walk into an organization and say, hey, this is what I have to offer, but you have to pay me for this. You have to give me all of these things. Like, you're coming in with your hand out and you're ready to receive a lot of stuff, but you're not giving anything. So think about how you're going to be able to give first. Let's give an example. Let's talk about the industry that I'm in, health and wellness. So I'm in a new location. I newly relocated across the country almost 6 months ago, and I'm in a new area. So I'm just not going to wake up and think that I could just be a nutritionist and all these people are just going to attract to me. I definitely decided to find local organizations that will be beneficial on what I'm actually teaching, and seeing how I can come in and speak to the employees that they have on deck, maybe seeing where I can come host an event at, things of that sort. But I also want to be able to give samples of my book or my products or things of that sort to those people, so they can see that, hey, this is what I use, this is what's working for me. Here, you can have a sample this and let me know what you think. But I would love to come speak to, whatever girls group you have come in, whatever men that may come in that are not privy to menstruation. I can teach them on how they can better handle their daughters, their wives, their significant others, even their coworkers or their best friends, even their moms if their moms are still menstruating. So things of that sort. So just think about what you could do first to initiate the giving, because the receiving is going to come naturally, but you have to be able to give. The next thing when it comes to service is giving generously. An open hand is more powerful than a closed fist. Don't go in with the notion of, well, let me give this because then I'm going to be able to get this. You don't want to go in with that type of mind frame. You built this business because you want to help people. You decided to take on this mission because you wanted to serve others. You decided to add value into your life by adding value into others' lives. So how are you going to do that when all that's on your brain is, how am I going to make money? How am I going to sustain? If you're still putting yourself before your actual customer, then you're not really servicing them. So you want to be able to be mindful of what you need to do to actually execute real service. You also need to allow others to serve you. I mentioned once you start giving, you need to be able to receive, because some people get into the mind frame of give, 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 and then they won't want anybody to help them. They don't want to delegate. They don't want to receive any gifts. They don't want to receive any compliments. You need to be able to receive, because with all the giving that you've been doing, the universe is bringing really great things to you. You manifested this greatness, so you were going to be rewarded for your God-given talents and gifts that you're giving back out to the world. So you need to be able to receive that. You could be at an event vending. Yeah, you're out there making money. Yeah, you're helping people, but the right person can walk up to you and say, hey, I've been looking for somebody that does what you do. Would you be willing to come speak to this group that I'm a part of? Hey, I heard about this grant that you may be able to qualify for. You should look into this because that could be helpful for you. You got to be able to be open to the opportunities that come to you. Not saying that you have to take everything that's given to you, but you need to be able to receive. Okay, receptivity is healthy. In health culture, especially like in healthy cultures, serving establishes enriching relationships where we serve each other. Leaders who won't allow others to serve them can have an unbalanced organizational structure and an imbalanced culture. Again, guys, you can't just give, and don't want to receive anything back. You also want to be able to connect with like-minded individuals, because then as you bring a service to them, they can give a service to you, and then therefore you build a strategic partnership. You know, I'm always talking about how important strategic partnerships are and how great it is to maintain them, because if you know any other people in your industry that's not specialized in your skill, or that is specialized in your skill, you two can definitely make more movement in the community with serving others than working single-handedly. So be open to that. And lastly, when it comes to service, ensure that you're resolving the issue. You're not just out here just trying to make money. You're not out here just talking a good talk, but you want to actually ensure that you're resolving others' issues. I mentioned earlier that I have Kid Cramps ads that recently launched. I'm out here trying to educate people. I don't want you walking around with heavy menstrual cramps. So I'm going to tell you what we can do to resolve that issue. And even if you're unable to afford the products that I offer, let me give you some of these free resources that you could be working on in the meantime to see if it's going to work for you. Because if you're using these free resources over the next few months, then maybe you're going to be able to budget in or factor in using some of the other products or services that we may offer. If I'm hosting a workshop, I'm not allowing my guests to walk away not feeling fulfilled, or not walking away with at least 3 legitimate resources that they can use that's going to help them resolve their uterine health issues, or even their overall health issues in general. So, guys, again, just want to be mindful of those things. I apologize for that notification that just popped up. So my apologies, guys. Moving forward to the next section. So we talked about service. Let's talk about, I apologize too for touching my nose. It's a little cooler in Vegas right now. And so the AC, between AC and outside being a little breezy, it's having my nose twitch a bit. So I apologize as I put on sanitizer. Practice safe hygienic practices. All right. So healing. Educate yourself first. You can't go out and start healing people if you haven't thoroughly educated yourself first. And this is not saying that you have to go get a degree or you have to get some actual certification to prove that you're great in what you do, because there's a lot of very knowledgeable people who don't have any form of pedigree that is out here really assisting people and making movements in the community and in the overall world. You want to make global effect. Okay, guys? So you want to make sure that you're educating yourself. You're doing your own research and you're understanding what skills are you really delivering, and what are you going to do to actually execute the healing process for others? You want to be able to understand the needs of your targeted audience and of your demographics and those that you're looking to serve. You want to be able to know what is it that they're looking for? What is it that they really, really need help with? We mentioned earlier about estheticians. It could be something as simple as wanting to find reputable food. They don't trust the grocery stores. So guess what? Let's look into farmers markets. Let's see what farmers are out here using legitimate fertilizing techniques that is not contributing to producing bad foods or chemicals or GMOs or things of that sort. So if you know that you want to be able to help others find sustainable food, then you got to do your research. Go find the farmers that you can connect with. Go find out what they're using. Go get some of the products yourself and use them for yourself to make sure that they're great before you start executing that service to other people. You also want to be able to enhance your skills. If there's a specific skill that you're good in, figure out other ways that you can make it even better. Maybe you want to learn a new skill or something that can complement your current skill that you're really great at. You want to be able to make those enhancements. So whether that's self-learning, whether that's you getting a certification, whether that's you connecting with other professionals that are in your industry, you want to be able to ensure that you are consistently enhancing your skills. Back in my chefing days, we would have to do extended learning outside of chefing skills. So if you wanted to broaden up your knife skills, if you wanted to broaden up your cutting skills, if you wanted to get into the trends of the new sauces that are going on, you will want to go into like a saucier class or speak with a saucier connoisseur that can help you really elevate your skills. So just think about things that you could do to better assist you. YouTube University. You can find a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can find a lot of things on Google now. And then there's platforms like Teachable, and other like where you can find like courses on. I think Skill Set is another one that you're able to go look for courses, and a lot of these courses are complimentary. There's also like LinkedIn Learning if you have a LinkedIn Premium account, but like if you work for a school or a certain nonprofit organization, or even like a professional organization like a women's chamber or urban chamber of commerce, they give you accessibility to these platforms that you can better sharpen your skills. So things to consider. Remain calm when you're healing. Try to be mindful of that person's journey. If you did the healing yourself, you know how frustrating it was for you to go through it, especially if you did it cold turkey or on your own. But if you had assistance or somebody that was holding you accountable, you have to now know that you're now in that same shoes of the person that's providing the guidance, providing the assistance, or holding those people accountable. So you want to be mindful of their journey and not be anal with them. Be patient. And be intentional with what you're doing. Don't just do something. Hey, I want to be a coach because everybody's being a coach. What are you coaching? Have you coached yourself? Have you gone through the full process to know what it really takes? Do you have the patience to coach people? Do you have the time to coach people? Do you have the discipline and the focus to execute what you're trying to do? So just be intentional with what it is that you're wanting to do. That will assist you with remaining calm and also being able to be fully aware in the moment to be present for the actual client or consumer that you're assisting through the healing journey. You want to be respectful and patient. This journey is not going to happen overnight. Ask how you can help in their recovery process and be cautious to not to come off controlling. You don't want to come off as a know-it-all. I've done this and I've done this and you need to do this too. It doesn't work that way because people learn in different ways. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. You also want to be mindful that everybody's journey is not going to work the exact same way that you did. All right. So for instance, when I went plant-based, I went cold turkey. I don't recommend that for my clients. I never do. I tell them I went cold turkey. It was the hardest shit ever because in my head, I watched What the Hell. I just went and threw away everything out my refrigerator. and out my pantry. But then I didn't have the skills or the knowledge on how to move forward. So I kind of found myself stuck. It took me a few weeks to kind of get in my groove on what I should be doing. Because now I'm starving and I'm hungry and I don't know what to eat. So you want to be patient, and you want to be mindful of what that person is going through. You want to be respectful of their journey too, because they can have additional trauma attached. They could be healing through childhood situations. They could be coming out of a really abusive relationship, whether it was physical, mental, or emotional. So you don't also, again, want to control the situation. You're here to help. You're here to mentor. You're here to guide. You don't want to tell them what they need to be doing. You want to be able to offer help and provide recommendations. Asking and guiding is different than demanding and telling people what they're going to be doing. I could tell you guys all day what worked for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm telling you that's what you have to go do. I'm just letting you know what worked for me and what worked for my past clients and what worked for individuals that are around me, my high frequency thinkers or my tribe that is on the frequency and the level that I'm at and still trying to elevate themselves. You think about those things. So just be mindful of just not controlling the situation, because that can be triggering for them and send them into a place where they don't want to be vulnerable with you. They don't want to be open with you. They might start withholding information from you that could be crucial in their healing process or their journey. So just be mindful of that. Be respectful and just be patient with them. Show them some grace. You've been there before. Okay? Listen. Be proactive with listening. A lot of people make the mistake of not executing excellent customer service, providing an exceptional client experience. It's because they're not listening. They start tuning the people out that's talking. They might feel like, oh my God, you're just running on with your sentences and you're just doing so much and you're always complaining about the same shit and you're not changing. And you have to be able to listen to what their issue is so that you can dissect what's going on. That way that you can thoroughly educate them. You can't come up with a plan of action if you really don't know what all that they have going on. You don't want it to be a situation where you ask a question to probe more and they're like, I already gave you that answer. And then you feel bad because you've tuned them out or you're not really paying attention to what they're saying. I find a lot of people, when they assist others with healing, it's like they get used to, since they see it so much and this is their job, that they automatically try to pre-diagnose you or read a book by its cover because they've seen it so many different times without thoroughly listening to what that specific person has going on. So just making sure that you're listening to what your clients are bringing to the table. What is your target audience really needing assistance with? What do they really need help with? And are you listening to that? There's a difference between listening and hearing. I hear you is going in one ear and out the other. But are you really listening? Are you really taking heed to what's being brought to you? So be mindful of that. And that's not even in just healing and servicing people. That's in general in all relationships. We find it common that, well, my mom would tune me out or my grandma would tune me out, or you might get in relationships where you're repeating same cycles that you saw growing up that might be toxic and not the best for you. So you want to be mindful that you're not repeating those same bad habits while you're trying to build and establish a brand, or to trying to fulfill your own purpose and figuring out what is it that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life and how you're going to be helping those people. All right. You also want to provide support. One of the best ways to help is to simply ask how. How can I better help you? Because some people could come, like we said in the previous tip, and they just want you to listen. They don't even want you to give advice. They just wanted somebody that they could vent to. So you might want to ask them, what is it that I can do to better serve you? What is it that you need assistance with? Just to get clarification, because it could be that the person told you, I need help with this, and then they get on the phone, they let you know what it is, and you might still not know what it is. So then just seek clarification. Hey, just for clarification purposes, I just want to ensure that I understand how I can better help you. So what is it that you exactly that you need from me? Simple. So in order to provide support, know what they need. And then even if you don't have the resources, the skills to provide them the support that they need, Find the resources for them, guide them in the right direction, refer them to somebody that you know is intentional with their art or their work or with their mission and values, so that, yeah, you might not have been able to give support, but you're still being supportive by directing them or guiding them in the proper direction that's going to get them the resolution that these people need. All right. And lastly, when it comes to healing, you have to establish boundaries. It's great to let them talk, let your clients give what they need, but you also have to set applicable boundaries with them. You just can't allow people to call you all times of the day. You can't allow people just to pop up at your office. You can't allow people to demand your time and attention when they feel like they readily need it. You got to be able to say, hey, if you need assistance, I'm available, but I'm available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Give them the time zone so they're privy to that. If you're going out of town or you're not going to be available, set that boundary and communicate effectively, and then set the boundary. This is what it is. I'm not going to be able to be available for you, but here are the resources that you can use until I follow back up with you. Here is an individual that you can be referred to in the meantime if you need something or it's an emergency while I'm not available. Also, establishing a professional relationship with the person that you're working with. You'll find it often that people start crossing that line that is no longer professional. They want to become friendly or they want to become more personable. You got to remember, once you do that, you are now letting down boundaries and you're allowing people to come into your personal space. And your personal space is supposed to be sacred, and it's supposed to be a little bit different than what your career space is or your domestication space or whatever it is. So if you're assisting individuals, you got to make sure that you're still setting boundaries so that they're not energy leeching. They're not being energy vampires. They're not draining you. They're not bringing too much negativity to you, because you got to know that when the healing process, some people are going to come, or a lot of people are going to come with maybe toxic and negative behaviors that they're trying to unlearn, and you got to be prepared for that. But if you're not prepared for that type of energy and they just cross that boundary and they just bombard you with certain things that you're not prepared for, you got to be able to set that up. So you got to be clear with your consumers and your clients from the beginning. Hey, this is the boundary. This is the expectation. This is what I can give to you. This is how I'm going to be able to serve you, and go from there. If they cross that boundary, you need to be able to have that conversation and let them know, if this happens again, this is going to be the consequences. And also reiterate for them, this is not you being rude, this is not you being mean, but this is something that they need to learn for themselves as well, is to establish boundaries. And then that way that you can move forward in a more positive and optimistic manner. All right, guys. And the last section we're going to talk about, we talked about service, we talked about healing. So we're going to round up with how to educate. You want to be mindful of various learning styles. Everybody that you are going to serve is not going to learn the exact same way that you learned. I mentioned that a little bit earlier when we first were talking about service. They're not going to grasp the information the same way. They might be more visual. Some people are more audio. You might have to have somebody that you have to be hands-on with them and show them 2 or 3 times before they can get it. You might be able just to give directions to somebody on a piece of paper and then they could pick up on it themselves. So you want to be mindful of however your practice is and however you execute your mission and your values, that you have multiple ways to do that to be able to accommodate your targeted audience. Now, maybe your targeted audience might be more filter out. You might say, hey, I'm only dealing with women between the ages of 20 to 40. You might only deal with a specific race, a specific profession, maybe making a certain amount of their salary, their annual salary each year. Based off of whatever group you deal with, you want to be able to make sure that you have proper learning. In my case, when it comes to the Kit Cram Sass, my demographics is anybody that menstruates. So that could be somebody as young as 8 years old, and that can be somebody that's up in their 60s that has not had menopause yet. I'm dealing with all different races. I'm dealing with also girls, teenagers, young women, adult women. I'm also dealing with trans men. There's multiple people who menstruate. So I have to be mindful of my approach on all those different situations. I have a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community. I have to approach them in a different type of way. I have many individuals that are veterans or still active duty military. I have to approach them in a totally different type of way. It's all about the environment, how people learn, how they handle things, what their communication skills are, how they handle conflict. All of those things go into determining my learning style and my teaching style and how I am going to adapt to my various different learners. So you might not have to have that extensive of an educational plan on how you do your execution of your lessons or your information or your products or services. However, in my situation, it's like that. So you want to be mindful of having various learning techniques underway and associated with the way that you teach or you provide your product and service. You want to acquire various communicative styles. Guys, this is really, really important. Why? I'm from the South. If you've been watching since season 1, you know that I am from Houston, Texas. I am a Southern chick all day. So I grew up with yes ma'am, no sir, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. instead of calling people by their first names. Like, I have been checked so many times in my adult year, like, do not call me Mrs. You make me feel old. And I'm like, hey, Southern hospitality, home training. This is how my mom and dad raised me. It's just the way things are. But you will talk different to I will talk different to 12-year-olds than I would talk to an elder or somebody that's older than me. Even being 37 at this present day, even 40-year-olds, that's still an elder to me. I still have a respect for people that are older, been here, a little wiser. Not saying that I don't have respect for my younger crowd, but I might be more jovial and more playful with a younger crowd. I try to make sure that I can get on their level and communicate at how they're used to communicating versus me executing an administration class to preteens and then me executing an administration class to college students. A lot of college students are already sexually active, so I'm going to have a different conversation with them than I would have with somebody that's 12 years old. So you want to be mindful of the way that you communicate with people and how you execute that communication. All right. You want to be able to clarify any information. When I teach workshops, I break them down into different lessons and different sections. After I complete a section, I always ask, is there anything that you would like for me to clarify for you? Back when I was doing my consulting business, after I would teach my clients something, we would go over information, especially when it's a lot of information that we're covering. I would break that into different sections. And before we continue, is there anything I can clarify for you? Is there anything that you would like me to explain further? Is there something that you didn't understand? Therefore, I can make sure that you have a clear understanding of what those things are before we move forward. Because I'm not just going to throw a whole bunch of information at you and just assume that you got it. I want to ensure that you're learning, that you're grasping what I'm teaching you, and you're able to walk away and utilize what has been brought to the table. So it is very important to clarify information. I also do like recaps. You'll notice that throughout my podcast episodes, I will recap what I talked about. And just to let you know, like, hey, this is kind of the general summary. And then if people want especially if I'm doing an in-person event, after I do a recap, I will do a clarification again just to see, like, hey, is there anything I might clarify for you guys? Anything that you might need more information on? Is there something that was confusing? Because some people might not want to speak up. They might be embarrassed, especially if you're in front of other people. You don't want to be the one person that didn't understand something, or you might don't want people looking at you a certain type of way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Pull me to the side afterwards, or let's talk about it afterwards. But I always want to make sure that the floor is open for clarification, because you want to ensure that you're educating and you're not just throwing information out there. You want to make sure that your actual consumers or clients grasp the information. And lastly, when it comes to education, you want to ensure your learners grasp the information before leaving the lesson. So that just kind of ties into what I was just saying. You don't want to give an hour or 2 hour spill on something and nobody walked away with anything. You want to make sure that it's valuable, the information that you're giving, that again, that you're really resolving their problems. Because just like how we talked about earlier, that you can allow people to talk and you're not proactively listening, that can happen with students too. You see it in school all the time. You know, back when you're in school, or if you're currently in school, K through 12, college, whatever the case, going back to school for your graduate, there are going to be people in your class that will tune out every single time. It don't matter what level you're at in school, even if you're getting a certification, you can go to driving school, you be getting your gun concealed license. Somebody's going to be in that class that's going to clock out because they're not proactively listening. So you just want to make sure that your learners are grasping the information. I like to be interactive. If you ever come to an in-person workshop, you're going to not just sit there. I'm going to interact. I'm going to be have activities. We're going to be having little mini quizzes. We're going to be talking. I am going to get you to get involved because I want you to feel comfortable that this is a safe space. This is a safe haven for you to really heal and resolve the problem that you have going on. So I'm going to make sure that we all are in it and that you feel comfortable enough. And that's another great thing when it comes to being somebody that serves, heals, and educates. You got to make the people around you comfortable. Period. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and recap. We talked about service, healing, and education as part of the first 8 frequency of elevation and defining your purpose. You can't know what you're going to do if you don't know who you serving, who you healing, or what you're educating. What are you healing on? How are you educating? These are things that are important. So no, service, healing, and educating. And people hear healing and they automatically go to like doctors, somebody that's in like the medical industry. You don't have to be in the medical industry to heal somebody. You can heal them on something that has nothing to do with the medical industry. It could be speech therapy. It could be healing them through anxiety. It could be healing them through learning how to read. It could be, guys, it could be healing them through having a fear of speaking in front of people. It could be healing them through the way that they walk. I mean, it is multiple ways that is just not associated with the medical industry. So don't think that, okay, she's talking about healing, she's talking about educating, I'm not going to be doing that. Well, let's use an example. I'm going to use something that's completely not to do with the medical industry or education. Waist beads. If you go to a really great waist bead business owner, they are going to teach you what waist beads do for you. What are the healing agents? What do the different color beads mean? Where you should tie it at. What does those different things mean? What does it mean when it comes to your infertility? What does it do when it comes to your PCOS? What does it do? There's different levels when it comes to waist beads. And when you go, it's an educational experience. Even learning how to tie it on, that's education within itself, because it could be difficult to tie on based off of where you want it to fall. So don't think just because you're not in the medical industry or directly in like the education industry that you can't heal or educate other people. All right, guys. So just to give you some announcements, if you're in the Los Angeles area on Saturday, May 13th, Kick Cramps Ass will be in the building at the LA School of Comedy for the celebration of menstruation. We'll be giving a mini workshop along with some giveaways and selling our products and services. So we're really excited about that. If you're located in the Las Vegas area on Sunday, May 28th, which is Self-Care Sunday, is also actually Menstrual Hygiene Day. Kick Cramps Ass will be doing their own full-blown workshop at Queendom Cultivation, which is the only Black-owned crystal and metaphysical shop in the Las Vegas area. We will be having refreshments, samples, giveaways, an interactive experience, just teaching you how you can get rid of cramps and heal your womb naturally. So getting rid of infertility, fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, dysmenorrhea, which is heavy cramps, menorrhagia, which is heavy blood flow. We are in the building, okay? And we have some events coming up in June, but we'll talk about those in a couple of episodes so we don't load you up with too much. We are actively receiving listener mail, so feel free to comment to this episode on whichever platform you're listening on. You can also email us at info@nngconsulting.org. That's info@ N as in new, N as in nation, and G as in goddess, consulting.org. All right, guys, be sure to like this podcast, subscribe to us so you can keep up with the latest news, events, and resources that we have going on. Be able to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we will have additional information. We want to send a big shout out to J Jig Ciciero for the banging intro. We would definitely be leaving their information if you need branded music for yourself for any event, your podcast, or anything that you have going on with your business. But we just want to close out by manifesting a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of your day. It is Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. So guys, just soak up all this good energy and all these gems that we just gave you so you can better figure out and define your purpose and to better service, heal, and educate others. And guys, we got to give back. We got to circulate melanin dollars and build a better economy for our people so that we all can have life longevity and do what we need to do in this lifetime. Guys, it's been great. I just want to send love to you all. Talk to you next Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. Peace.
Thank you.